So, hello everyone. I guess we are live according to all the systems. We are live, and it's mini live TV. And I've started these interviews quite recently, and only now, like a minute before this interview, it dawned on me that I'm interviewing someone who does it professionally. And so I'm going to try my best, but I'm really delighted to present Janey Lee Grace. And topics that we are covering today is why heart-centered businesses, what they can do to get more customers. And I know, Janey, you are an expert, and I would say you are a champion for heart-centered businesses, holistic practitioners. And before I give you an opportunity to introduce yourself, I wanted to say thank you publicly to you because 5 years ago, you promoted me to your tribe and introduced me to holistic practitioners, and it turned my business angle completely, and I was drawn into alternative therapies, into the world I'm never knew before. And it also impacted my personal life because I started looking into alternative solutions in holistic approach to life. So thank you for giving me this new direction.
That's good. No, I didn't realize that. That's fantastic. That's good. I mean, I think my thing is that, I can only really work with people who that I would work with that I would go to, as it were, someone who wants to help other people, someone who has a message, who, the word heart center covers it really. I think that all business is great, and I love helping people PR themselves and get their message out there. But if someone is in the world they're in purely to earn money, there's nothing wrong with earning money, it's fantastic. But if it's literally they're doing, their heart isn't in it, it's a very different way of becoming visible. It's completely different. So I couldn't really ever help anyone in that sector. I can only really help people who want to help others, basically. That's kind of it in a long shot.
Great. And you touch very interesting point in terms there is one extreme when people go just after the money and they center on getting profit. And I think heart-centered businesses, many of them are on other extreme. It seems that making money shouldn't be on agenda to the extreme that they work, so their business doesn't sustain them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I do find that a lot, particularly with practitioners and therapists who have often come in to do the work they do because they've been healed themselves or because they know they have an amazing gift and they really are doing it from their heart. They're totally authentic and they're doing it because they want to help other people. But they're not necessarily business people. They haven't come from a business background necessarily. And they certainly haven't come from a scenario where they are on the front line, as it were. And sometimes it can be very, very difficult for those people to number one, be okay about the fact that they need to charge good money. That can be a real stumbling block. It can feel just not quite right. And similarly, the whole PR thing, the whole making yourself visible and standing up in the spotlight can also feel well, that's not quite me. Often therapists will say to me, don't look at me. It's the EFT that I practice, or the Reiki that I do is not about me. And of course, my message is that the work that you do is hugely important. Of course it is, but it's all about you. You are the brand. That's the title of one of my books, and it's really true.
Absolutely. And I would like to welcome all our live viewers and hello to everyone. And I would love to know, put in the comments whether you've done some PR activities to your business, conscious, not just hoping that somebody refers you, but have you done a proper PR activities, or maybe you even hired PR agencies? Talking about PR activities, so basically it's helping to become visible. And I guess I don't know the answers from people who are watching live, but PR for me would seem like it's something extreme, or when you have a lot of money, you can do it. But there are different ways how you can become visible.
Absolutely. I mean, I genuinely believe that you are your own best PR. And I think if you're at a stage in your career where you can afford a PR agency, or there's somebody that you're working with, it's going to be expensive and there are absolutely no guarantees. But even then, you still got to do it yourself. There's still an element that you have to do, because nobody cares as much about your book or your product or your program and your app. No one cares more about it than you do. It doesn't matter how much they're being paid. And really, you know, what's quite interesting is that often editors and journalists and publishers and you know, and someone at a radio station and a TV show, they actually do need to connect with the person. So it's all very well that a PR agent might represent you, if they do, but ultimately they've got to be able to see your photo. They've got to be able to see how you are on camera, or how you speak, or how you write. It really does come back to you doing this yourself. If you're a heart-centered business, this is where we go back to what we were talking about before. If it's just that you produce, I don't know, however many electronic widgets for a company, that's completely different. You know, then it isn't necessarily as much about you. It's about the product. But in this arena, it's absolutely about you, because people do business with those they like, know, and trust. And unless we can see you or get a sense of your energy, we don't know if we can like, know, and trust you.
And it's a great question. So from Marcia, what's the difference between PR and marketing?
Well, that's an interesting question, and I'm not even 100% sure I have a definitive answer. But off the top of my head, I'd say that marketing is everything you do towards your you do for your clients. So, you know, in the olden days, it would be flyers, wouldn't it, and brochures and your branding. And I tend to think of marketing as that kind of stuff. If you're doing an event, that's marketing. All of that is marketing. PR for me, it's public relations, and for me, what PR means is allowing the media, if you like, to help. You see, the way I see it is that most people have kind of two sides of their brand. On the one hand, we work at marketing, effectively. We work at finding clients, creating more community. Our social media can fall into that bracket. The brochures we create, the events we turn up to, the trade fairs we do, the networking events. It's all about increasing our client base and our customers and our community. And a lot of people forget there is another side, around the other side of the circle, as it were. And that is how you attract your PR and media relations. And if you're able to do both, they can work beautifully together. Because, of course, if you do have some PR, if you are featured in a magazine, or if someone else writes about you, or there's some visibility for you somewhere, whether it's TV, radio, podcast, article, social media, working with a key influencer, whatever it is, then obviously that's going to raise your profile, and it's going to help the other side, the community. Does that make sense? It's a bit of a convoluted answer.
Okay, great. Thank you. So, and it answered the question for me as well, clarified about public relations. So it's being in the media. So some people would hope to be featured in the magazines or featured on the TV. Can they do something more proactively? What would be your recommendation to get in front of the media?
Yeah, I mean, I think there are lots of things that you can do. I think what I often say to the people I work with is make sure you've got your ducks in a row. You know, actually, if you aren't ready, don't send a press release, because it'll all go bad. The amount of times I meet, or worse, you know, best case scenario, just nothing will happen. But I very often meet people at events, or if I'm doing a talk, or we'll get chatting, or they'll start working with me and they'll tell me about what they do. And it's just the way it works. Almost always I get an opportunity come up for them within a few days. It's bizarre how it happens. And so there have been many times in the past where I've met someone and they've said, I don't know, this is not a specific example, but off the top of my head, I'm a Pilates expert, you know, specifically working with back pain. 2 days later, I'll meet a journalist who'll say, I really want to do a piece on back pain, but I need a different angle. So, you know, so I'll go, I've got the perfect person for you. Ring them up and say, can you give me some comments? And they'll go, yeah, no problem. So they usually manage to get the comments over to me. And then I'll say, fantastic news. The magazine want to print a headshot of you. And they'll go, well, I don't have any headshots. Well, what do you mean you don't have a headshot? Well, I got a picture, on the beach from 1998, and that's not going to cut it. So, basic things that I think of are basic, and not everybody knows this. Of course, it depends where you're at on your journey, but there are things that you need before you pitch to the media. And once you have your media kit, as it were, once you have your ducks in a row, then's the time to pitch. And actually, anyone can pitch out to the media, because I think something that we'll forget is that newspapers need their column, they've got their column inches. They've got to fill them. TV shows have got to fill their slots. Radio shows have got to fill their slots. And I'm not saying it's super easy and everyone who makes a phone call will get on. Of course not. But if you've got a really good angle for what you do, and you come across as showing your area of expertise, it's obvious you are an expert, then there can absolutely be ways in, but it is all about the angle and it's all about how you pitch. So I would really stress, make sure you've got those things in place first. Never send a journalist 5 pages of text. I've had that so many times. I'll say, can you send me a paragraph on, what is, I don't know, Reiki? And this hasn't happened. It's an example. If anyone's thinking, oh, it was me, it's not. They will send 5 pages and say, oh, I'm going to send you all this. I'm sure you can, if you want to read my story and everything I learned. I'm seriously, no offense. I'm sure your story is lovely, but I don't have time. And no journalist ever has time to sift through page after page of text. They want exactly what it is in one paragraph.
So in my previous interviews, we came to the phrase, be opera ready. So something what you suggest with having ducks in a row, that at least you need to have a professional headshot.
Absolutely. You need your professional headshot, but you also need your key angles and your key messages. And you need to know that you're going to be okay to present them. I mean, you and I have spoken about this before, but I'll just say it briefly in case anybody hasn't heard this story. But the only reason I do this work is because, someone who works on the radio and has done for years, we get the opportunity to interview all kinds of people. And we once had the opportunity to interview a hypnotherapist, but this was a pre-recorded show. We weren't live. It was pre-recorded because this person had written a book, and the book was great. The hypnotherapist was great. I'm sure he or she was a lovely person, but absolutely rubbish interviewee. I mean, just off the scale, not going to cut it. So the interview was dropped, and I was just horrified. 9 million listeners. We have 9 million listeners, and we could have been talking about hypnotherapy on a mainstream radio show, and we ended up dropping it. And that to me is just absolute travesty. So, that's the reason I'm doing this work, because these are just skills and can learn them. And so that's a bit that I'd really encourage everyone to think, well, am I ready? Am I a good interviewee? Do I have clarity on my angles? It's all of that stuff that I think is really important that people question themselves.
And you can see a question from Marcia. So she was featured in the Irish national newspaper, but she didn't see the big difference afterwards. So is it because you didn't have strategy, or just to answer the question, not just to Marcia, but for people who happen to be featured in the newspaper, what they can do afterwards?
Yeah, and that's a really, really good point. I think that people sometimes think that they are going to have one feature in the press and immediately sell however many units of their product or however many courses. And it absolutely doesn't work that way. Well, it rarely works that way. There are a couple of newspapers and mags that, depending on the article, can still really rock something. There are some big radio shows, some big TV shows that will make a big impact. But the majority of the time, the impact is relatively small in terms of sales, if you're literally looking at sales. But I would urge you not to think about sales at all. This is profile building. It's a completely different exercise. It really is not about, okay, I need to sell however many books. If I do this, I'll sell that many books. It doesn't work that way. The way PR works is much more slow burn, really. And there is a saying that someone needs to come across you at least 7 times before you're even on their radar, before they've even got a glimpse of what it is you might even do. So actually, if you've been in one newspaper, that's a fantastic number one. Okay, that's number one. So now you've got at least another 6 bits of media, preferably different kind of stuff, to attract people to your specific angle. So if you've been in a newspaper, that would be, if you know when the newspaper's coming out, that would be a really good time to also do some, good, decent social media, to try and be on a podcast or an interview, just a few different bits and pieces over a period of time that's relatively short, a week.
Okay. I don't know which part. Sorry, you're back.
Am I back?
You're back.
Okay. Well, I can't see you, but as long as you can see me,
I can.
Yeah. So it really is about these different bits of the media which all add up, and so don't worry about one piece not leading to anything. It's really helped to raise your profile.
Yeah. And as Lisa mentions, once folks experience you for the 7th time, they think, blimey, she's everywhere.
No, I don't really see it exactly like that. I'm not quite sure where you're coming from with that statement, comment, or question. I don't know whether you're saying you mean that's overkill, or you mean...
No, it means that it's good in terms that this person becomes like a popular...
I mean, it really is a case of you... I mean, you'll probably notice it yourself now I've said this, but if you weren't aware of this before, it's almost like if you're thinking about something, if you're thinking, okay, I really want to buy, a Mercedes, but I want a particular unique silvery blue color. And I wonder if they make them, and you don't even realize. And the very next day and over the next couple of weeks, you'll see hundreds of them, and you didn't see them before. It's not because they weren't there before. It's just because they weren't on your, what's the expression, reticular activator. They weren't on your radar, and that they were always there. And that's how it works. If somewhere in your subconscious mind, let's say you're looking for, something to heal your anxiety, and you vaguely heard someone mention EFT, emotional freedom technique, for example, and then by the time you've come across something about a practitioner who does EFT for the 7th time, suddenly it'll click. Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, that's a practitioner who does EFT. Oh, I vaguely remember now. I heard her being interviewed. Right. Okay. That's the one I saw on the blog post. I've got it. Okay. I think I'll check her out. That's kind of how the subconscious works. So you've only got to look at celebrities and anyone who's promoting anything. It doesn't matter what it is. If you've got, a film star and they're promoting a movie, they don't just rock up on one TV show. They rock up on TV, on radio, in the Metro magazine, if you're in London, in, Cosmopolitan or whatever. It's a campaign. And anyone running a campaign knows that one piece press is not going to do it on its own. It's a great start, but you need at least 7, preferably different media for it to work.
And we started working with you on awards because you offer holistic practitioners and product owners to apply for the award and win and showcase their talents and products. Prior to talking to you and working on this, I never considered even entertain the idea of entering the award part, because for me it seemed, if I don't have a chance to win, what's the point? And so from you I learned that it's not the case. So can you talk on that? So why is it important to seek for these opportunities and to enter the award?
Yeah, well, I've been running the Platinum Awards for about 4 years now, and it started just with products where we were gathering the best products, and over time it's evolved and it's become really, really interesting because I'm really fortunate in that I've got fantastic celebrity judges. I've got wonderful people judging, and I see that as an amazing opportunity for people to get their products into the hands of people like Zoe Ball and Cary Grant, and people that probably would not get a chance to have their products. For Zoe, by the way, and people like that, it's fantastic. They love it because they get to try all these incredible natural things that they hadn't tried before. So it's the best of all worlds. So you've got, people in the mainstream able to try your products. And then over time, I realized that actually, the main reason I was doing this is because I wanted to raise more awareness, not just to my judges, but to everybody about how great these products are. But rather than wait until the judges have decided who wins, why not just showcase them as we go along? So I started to do little videos and do some promo about the entries. And suddenly I realized, do you know something? This isn't about the winning. I mean, the winning's great. If you win, great. You get a awards badge, and that's a fantastic thing to, kickstart your profile as a business. But actually, the process is fantastic because I'm all about sharing great stuff with the public, with everybody. And so if I can shine a spotlight on the entry, it doesn't have to be the winner. And then, of course, over time, we realized that we may as well open this up to therapists and practitioners because what they were offering was just as important as the actual products, and similarly with books. So certainly with my awards, I don't think it's necessarily the same for other awards programs, possibly some, but for me, it's all about the process. So the sooner you enter the awards, the more you have the opportunity for me to big you up, but also for you to big yourself up, because just by actually telling your audience and telling the public that you've entered, you can ask them to vote, which won't really necessarily massively affect the final decision. It isn't really about that. It's just a great opportunity to encourage people to vote for you. And you know what? When someone says to me, "Oh, I see something on social media," and they say, "Oh, I've been nominated, or I've entered myself into this awards program. Would you vote for me?" Yeah, of course I will. It takes a second. So that's my take on it. I think use the period to promote your entry. I also think, sorry if I'm going on too long, but I also think entering awards is a fantastic way for you to really get clarity on what's great about your business. So it forces you to get that key angle right.
And it also prepares you, let's say, even if you don't win, you did the preparation work to be in the spotlight. So it's a
absolutely.
win in any case.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't win, you will have had to have got to the point where you've obviously written, in a line, one sentence or whatever it is, what your product is or your service. If you're a therapist or a practitioner, then we ask for some case studies, some testimonials. So you will have had to have gathered those. You will have had to have given us a headshot. Well, I hope you will. So you'll have had to have got some clarity around how you're going to sell this effectively, how you're going to present this, and all of that can be used for your own marketing.
I will post the link. You've written a brilliant article. Why should you enter your product or service for the award? Also, you have a group. Can you remind me the name of your group?
Yeah, the Facebook group is the Media Hub, hosted by Janey, the Media Hub. So yeah, feel free to come and join our group. And we, it's quite a small group. But if I come across sort of journalists who are wanting to speak to someone quickly, often a press lead, then I'm happy to post it in there. And some people have amazed, ended up getting incredible bits of press just by happening to be part of that and being ready. And of course, I'm always happy to work with people and to help people on how they can make sure that they're PR ready, or Oprah ready, as you call it.
Yeah. There is a question or comment from Lisa. She's saying, I paid someone for PR once, 3 months, and didn't even get anything in the media. I think that I should have tried it on my own first before spending money.
Yeah, well, that's why I do what I do. I have also had my own experience of PR. When I brought my first book out, we paid a PR company. We paid them a huge amount of money. And the book was literally, I didn't have a single piece of press, not one single piece of press. I took it in my own hands. I got myself a radio interview. The book went to #1 on Amazon overnight. And all of a sudden, the press was everywhere. And unfortunately, it can be like that. I must stress there are some PR agencies who are, they're just amazing, and they seem to pull everything out of the bag. But the thing is, there are no guarantees with PR. That's it. There aren't. So it doesn't matter what you've paid monthly. If the editors that they approach say, no, thanks, it's not for me, that's the way it is. You've still paid your money. However, my approach is be your own best PR and get your bits right anyway. So that even if you then decide to hire someone else, you've got all the content. You've got all the relevant angles ready for them. So it makes their job a lot easier. So yes, I would absolutely say everybody needs to think about how they're going to be their own best PR.
Absolutely. I will post the links to your page as well. And thank you for your wisdom. And I think this is what you do. You help people to be PR ready and to be, as you say, your own brand, and how to shine spotlight on yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, so the Platinum Awards, if anyone's interested in that, is platinumawards.co.uk, and you can post the other links for the Facebook and everything. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I posted the link to the article, and I will post separately to the Platinum Awards. And if you have any questions, you are welcome to post them, and either I or Janey will come here and answer. We also shared in several groups this broadcast. And I think it's the time to seriously consider entering the award, even just to be PR ready, even if it's not the winning.
Yeah, absolutely. It's be lovely to have you on board. I mean, I think that, there have been people who, just by entering the awards, it's actually made them really focus. There was one woman a couple of years ago, and she was working, she was creating products. Oh, no, she wasn't. No, it's the other way around. I beg your pardon. She was a therapist. That's right. She was a therapist, and she decided to enter the awards. And through the process of gathering her testimonials, hearing what people thought about her, actually coming up with what really was her reason, having to write it down. Through the whole process, she suddenly realized, hold on a minute, there's another brand for me here. I can create products. And this year she's entering the products. So it's really exciting. Sometimes it can really just help you evolve, particularly when you know that these awards are specifically for holistic products and services. You're not competing with, your supermarket brands. These are sometimes, and we have categories, by the way, for lots and lots and lots of different things. We subcategorize. So if you're someone who makes, hand makes very small quantities of raw skincare in their kitchen, you aren't going to be put up in a category against, Willeda or whatever. We subcategorize. So we really do try and shine a light on as many brands as possible, shine the spotlight on as many as we possibly can. That's my passion.
Excellent. So thank you so much for your time. I really enjoyed, and I hope that our audience enjoyed it too, and maybe it will encourage you to be ready for that opera call, or at least to be recognized by people around you, and it will get you more clients as a result of it.
Hope so.
So thank you, everyone, and bye.